You are sitting alone one night. No music, no notifications, just the quiet hum of your own thoughts. And for the first time you notice something uncomfortable. The more you try to hold on to someone, the more they slip through your fingers. The more you seek reassurance, the less secure you feel. The more you chase connection, the more distant it becomes. And that's when it hits you. Detachment isn't about indifference, it's power without tension. It's desire without dependency, and that is attractive. Not because it plays games, but because it signals emotional stability. We fall into a psychological trap without realizing it. We call it love, or passion, or caring deeply, but often it's attachment mixed with fear. Fear of losing, fear of not being enough, fear of being replaced. So we grip tighter, we overanalyze messages, we adjust ourselves to fit in their preferences, we monitor their mood, we seek signs that we matter, and slowly we abandon our center. Attachment feels intense, detachment feels calm. Intensity looks romantic, calm looks powerful, but intensity rooted in fear is not attractive. It is unstable. And here is the mechanism. When you become emotionally attached to an outcome, your nervous system shifts into threat mode. Your body doesn't know the difference between losing a relationship and losing survival. Cortisol rises, heart rate changes, you scan for danger, you become hyper aware, you interpret neutral actions as rejection, silence becomes abandonment, distance becomes betrayal. Your ego steps in. It says, I can fix it, control it, secure it. But control signals insecurity, and insecurity feels heavy. People feel that weight. Detachment is different. Detachment says, I value you, but I do not depend on you for my emotional stability. That changes everything. When you are detached, your nervous system is regulated. You are not reacting, you are choosing, and choice is attractive because choice implies abundance, not arrogance, not ego, but internal sufficiency. As Marcus Aurelius would remind us in his reflections in meditations, you do not control what others do. You control what your response, your judgment, your inner state says. That inner state is your frame. And when your frame is steady, people relax around you. They don't feel pressure. They don't feel evaluated. They feel space. Space creates attraction. Most people think detachment means you don't care. That's wrong. Detachment means you care without needing. When you need someone to stay, to text, to reassure you, you hand them emotional authority. And the moment someone feels responsible for regulating your emotions, attraction quietly decreases. Not because they are cruel, but because dependency creates pressure, and pressure kills desire. The question isn't whether you love. The question is, can you love without clinging? Because that changes the entire dynamic. Let's go deeper. Attachment often hides inside ego. You don't just want them. You want to be chosen. You don't just want connection. You want validation. You want proof that you are enough. So when someone pulls away, it doesn't just hurt. It attacks identity. I wasn't enough. And that narrative activates defense. You try harder, you perform more, you sacrifice standards. But here's the contrast between fantasy and reality. Fantasy says, if I prove my value, they'll stay. Reality says, the right person doesn't require proof. Fantasy says intensity equals depth. Reality says, calm equals strength. Nietzsche suggested that what weakens us isn't pain. It's dependence disguised as devotion. When your sense of self rests on another person's behavior, you lose sovereignty. And without sovereignty, you lose attraction. Attachment feels like love because it's intense. But intensity is not intimacy. Intensity is your nervous system reacting to uncertainty. Intimacy is safety without performance. If your mood depends on their attention, that's not romance, that's emotional outsourcing. And outsourcing your stability always reduces power. Ask yourself something very uncomfortable. If they left tomorrow, would you collapse or recalibrate? Your answer tells you whether it's love or attachment. Now understand this clearly. Detachment is not emotional coldness, it is emotional regulation. It means you can feel deeply without losing yourself. It means you can desire without abandoning standards. It means you can walk away calmly if respect disappears. That is masculine self-control, not aggression, not dominance. Control over impulse, control over fear, control over the need to react. When you are detached, you do not rush to respond to every shift in energy. You observe, you process, you decide, and that decision comes from identity, not panic. Identity rebuilding is the real work. You don't become detached by pretending not to care. You become detached by building a life that does not revolve around one person. Purpose, discipline, friendships, health, ambition. When your identity expands, attachment shrinks because your self worth is no longer concentrated in one outcome. You stop asking, will they choose me? And start asking, do they align with my standards? That shift alone changes posture, tone, and presence. You move differently, you speak slower, you react less, you smile without expectation, you become grounded. The most attractive energy in the room is not dominance, it's emotional self sufficiency. The man who does not chase validation is magnetic because he cannot be emotionally cornered. He is not trying to win affection, he is evaluating alignment. And when someone senses that you can love peacefully, they feel your strength. The irony, the moment you are okay losing them is the moment you stop losing yourself. And that's when dynamics shift. Let's expose one final illusion. You think detachment will push people away. Insecure detachment will. But grounded detachment invites curiosity. Because humans are drawn to stability. We trust what feels steady. We lean toward what feels safe. When you are not grasping, people feel room to step closer. And if they don't, you remain intact. That's the difference. Detachment protects dignity, attachment negotiates it. And self-respect is always more attractive than desperation. This is not about playing unavailable. It's about becoming internally unavailable to chaos. You still love, you still care. You still show up, but you do not beg, you do not collapse, you do not chase someone who is unsure about you. As the Stoics implied, your peace should not be hostage to someone else's reaction. You control your perception, your effort, your boundaries, nothing else. And when that truth settles in, something shifts quietly. You stop gripping, you stop proving, you stop fearing loss. You realize something simple. Anyone who aligns will stay. Anyone who doesn't was never yours to secure. Detachment is not withdrawal. It is self-possession. It is strength without noise. It is desire without desperation. And when you master that, you don't become colder. You become unshakable. You become calm. You become grounded. Chosen or not chosen, you remain yourself. That is the energy. That is the frame. And that is why detachment is attractive. Not because it makes others chase you, but because it means you no longer chase yourself away. Stand steady, hold your center, let people come close by choice, not by pressure. And if they leave, you remain as you are.